Hey, it's Allie with Seattle Coffee Gear, and today we're starting a little bit of a new series here, the Carina compared to. Today we're comparing it to an espresso machine. So you're probably pretty familiar with Nespresso. You see it in a lot of places. They are relatively cheap machines. You can get them pretty inexpensive. They work from pods, and they do have some with more features built in. This model that we have in particular is about the same price point as our exclusive Carina. So I wanted to kind of go over what makes these two machines different and why you might be more interested in something like the Carina than you would the Nespresso. So first and foremost, the Nespresso machines are known for using pods. So pods, of course, are not going to be very environmentally friendly. While they're still recyclable, you have to go through the trouble of sending them in, and you're talking about all the materials it requires to make the pods, ship the pods, and do all of that sort of thing. So there's a lot of added materials involved there, and you're not going to get as much coffee per pod as well. So each Nespresso pod has about 5 to 6 grams of coffee inside, which is not very much. Traditionally, an espresso would have closer to 14 grams or something like that. The Carina will be able to do from 10 if you like lighter coffee all the way up to that 14-ish grams. So about twice the amount of coffee. The Nespresso can turn out kind of weak, a little bit watery. Doesn't really seem like it has that full intense flavor like you'd would want from an espresso. Mostly that's because of the way that the machine brews. The Nespresso pods are punctured and pushed with 15 bars of pressure through there to create crema. Because crema typically comes from when coffee is super fresh. It's the gas, the CO2 releasing. But when you use an espresso, it's pre-ground coffee. It's not typically going to have so much crema. So that's why they need that extra pressure to push that crema and make that CO2 come through in your actual cup. The Carina, on the other hand, will do more of a classic style espresso. It brews right around 10 bars and has a release valve, so it doesn't add any more pressure to that. It's going to give you a smoother flavor, and it's going to be a little bit more drinkable overall. The milk systems on these two are a little different as well. We're talking about a fully automated system versus manual. You can get some different options with a fully automated system. This one actually has an adjustable level of foam. But honestly, when you turn it back and forth, it wasn't that much different in the level of foam. The Carina, you'll have a manual style of steam arm, so you can actually control and be very precise with the way that you want your foam. And it's actually easier to clean, in my opinion, as well. Just comes off and you can rinse it under the spout. When you clean this particular Nespresso machine, you actually have to hold down this little button here and let it rinse, which is a little odd. And then when you're talking about the coffee in general that you're going to be purchasing for these machines, the Nespresso, although typically has a cheaper entry-level price point, so when you're buying the machine, they look a little bit cheaper. They obviously seem cheaper overall, and it seems like a better value. But when you're actually purchasing your coffee, each Nespresso pod comes out to about 70 cents per pod, which is a lot when you talk about whole bean coffee in comparison. Specialty coffee roasters actually average about 58 cents per cup. And you know, if you're using imported Italian style coffee like our Lavazza, that would actually be even less, around 28 cents per cup. So it actually makes a big difference, and it's going to taste better, be fresher, and you can choose more options as well. So Nespresso pods obviously are very restricted. There are only certain brands that you can find, certain styles that will fit. But when you have whole bean, you have a huge selection to choose from. The only thing you have to worry about is those oil content on the beans themselves. But you can also use pre-ground coffee due to our little bypass doser here. So say you like to change it up. You don't want to have one bean. You can put one bean in the grinder, whole bean, and have that as your main option. And then whatever else you want to do, toss in the pre-ground in your bypass toaster. So I think that about covers most of the differences between these two machines. Now let's put it up to the taste test. I'm going to brew a cappuccino on each, taste them, and we'll talk about the difference in the flavor itself. Now, we don't have the same exact coffee for each of these because obviously the coffee for an espresso is proprietary. So I've used a coffee that's very similar. It's similar in style, if you will, similar in notes. So I'm using Nespresso's classic espresso pod right here. Pretty small. I think when I weighed this pod, it was 7 grams total. So small amount of coffee. You lift it up, pop it in, And it actually, so it punctures it on both sides. And you can see that whenever you take out the grounds bend there. You can set it, it has, you know, a place for bigger cups or this little odd pull out where you can add in smaller cups. And then I'm going to go ahead, it looks like it fell asleep, turn it back on. And once it wakes up, it's going to blink. And then I'm going to hit cappuccino. It's going to start to warm up. Pretty quick to brew as well. It doesn't stay with that coffee very long. In and out. And you can see it does have a layered effect here, which is what you'll see on most espresso machines, but you'll notice how light it is. This is actually one of their more intense profiles, but it still comes out really light in the cup. So I'll leave that one here. We'll taste test it right after I brew this one. So for this one, since it is going to be a little bit more manual, I'm going to go ahead and place my cup there. And we'll start with steam. I've already got my milk in here. So I'm going to hit the steam button to let it know that's what I want to do. That will illuminate and hit start. This one's going to warm up as well. You see the lights blinking there. I'm going to go ahead and set this up and get it ready to go. The machine itself will start to pump. The steam on this one, usually it steams a little bit hotter than the Nespresso as well, and that's one of the reasons why it's able to make a little bit more quality foam. If you have lower temperatures, the foam itself is going to be a little bit watery because it's not as much steam actually going into it. So this is a Panarello. You don't have to do too much work. Just because we're making a cappuccino, I wanted to add a little bit more foam to it, so I did. And now I'm just going to let it do the rest. Another benefit of having a wand instead of a carafe type model is you can control how hot your milk is, which is usually a common complaint. So if you like really hot milk, this one will be able to give you that. Perfect. So it's getting too hot to the touch. Gonna stop it. Perfect. And then, oh, forgive me, I forgot my rag to wipe my arm, but that's okay. I will toss it in the sink when I'm done. It'll be easy clean. And then you can, so right now I'm swirling this to pop some of the bubbles, and I'll do that while I brew my espresso. This machine can actually do 2 drinks at once as well. So if I wanted to do a double espresso, pretty easy. I just hit the button twice. But we're just going to do one since this machine just did one. We're going to lower the coffee amount too, just to make it a little bit more fair. I'll do the second level, the medium level, and then we'll do the full amount. It should be about an ounce or so. You do have the added benefit of the AquaClean filter. Let that finish grinding. The AquaClean filter goes in with these machines and it will actually prevent you from having to descale as much, and it'll make your coffee taste better. Water quality may not be something that you think about all the time when you're brewing your coffee, but it actually makes a big difference. Perfect. So nice rich espresso there. And see, if you wanted to make 2 drinks, you could have them both brewing at the same time. Let's see what I can do here. Pretty foamy, but maybe a little bit of heart there. So more incorporated, of course. If you wanted to steam your milk in first, dump it in, and then pull your shots after, That would actually allow you to have a more layered drink similar to this one. This one did brew a little bit smaller. Okay, time for the taste test. This is pretty incorporated now, so I think they're generally similar. So it tastes weak, weak and like coffee-esque, reminiscent, but I can't, like even this is a really dark coffee and I can taste like the bitterness, but there's no like rich coffee tones to it. Like you can't really taste anything that's like special, honestly, you know? This is gonna be streamlined, so it's still a dark profile coffee similar to what we were using there. Milk I steamed myself, so hopefully we'll be good. So a lot creamier, and it has a very smooth tone to the coffee. This one is very bitter. I feel it on the sides of my mouth. It's like an astringent feel. This one goes down really easy. Yeah, much more like a latte you get in a cafe. So while, you know, these two machines, obviously they kind of say they do the same thing, but the performance itself is actually going to be a lot different. I hope you found this video helpful. If you have any questions about the comparison between our exclusive Carina machine versus Nespresso, please let us know. Don't forget to like, subscribe, comment below, and we will see you next time.